There is a very specific kind of beauty that always looks expensive, even when nothing about it is loud. It does not rely on dramatic makeup, complicated hair, or obvious perfection. It feels fresh, intentional, and somehow effortless at the same time. And if there is one place that has mastered that balance better than almost anywhere else, it is France. Because French grooming is not really about looking done, it is about looking considered. It is the difference between beauty that asks for attention and beauty that naturally holds it. In 2026, when so much of modern beauty still swings between overstyled and underfinished, this formula feels more powerful than ever. It makes a woman look polished without looking polished in the obvious way. And that is exactly why it reads as expensive. In this video, we are going through the French grooming formula that makes any woman look more refined, more elegant, and more luxurious without overdoing anything. Not as a stereotype, not as a costume, but as a set of principles that actually work in real life. The first thing French grooming understands is that expensive beauty begins with restraint. Not lack of care, but restraint. The face is not overloaded, the hair is not overworked, the nails are not overdesigned. The overall impression is never, "Look how much effort went into this." It is, "She knows exactly where to stop." That point matters more than most women realize, because over-grooming can make beauty feel tense. Too much contour, overly crisp hair, too many visible procedures, thick lashes, heavy lip color, overly glossy skin, all of it starts to compete. And once beauty begins competing with itself, it loses that calm, elevated quality that expensive women tend to have. French grooming usually moves in the opposite direction. It removes visual noise. It edits, it softens, and because of that, the face becomes more memorable. Not because it is louder, but because it is clearer. That is the first principle of the formula. Expensive grooming is never about adding everything. It is about choosing what matters most and letting that carry the impression. The second principle is skin first. French beauty has always understood that the skin does most of the work. Not makeup that masks it, not layers that cover it, the skin itself. Healthy, calm, hydrated, well-maintained skin will always look more luxurious than a full face trying to imitate radiance. This is why French grooming in 2026 still feels so relevant. The most expensive-looking women are not the ones wearing the most product. They are the ones whose skin looks quiet, balanced, and lived in. Not flat, not heavy, not overly matte, and not glazed to the point of looking artificial. Just clean, fresh, hydrated skin with enough life in it to make the whole face look awake. That shifts the goal completely. Instead of asking, "How can I hide everything?" the question becomes, "How can I make my skin look healthier, calmer, and more even over time?" That usually means a consistent routine, not a dramatic one. Cleansing properly, moisturizing well, wearing SPF, using targeted products gently rather than attacking the skin. The result is slower, but much more elegant. And visually, this changes everything. When the skin looks healthy, the rest of the face can stay lighter. Makeup becomes support instead of structure. That is one of the biggest secrets behind expensive-looking grooming. The third principle is makeup that enhances rather than transforms. French grooming rarely tries to build a different face. It works with the face that is already there. The brows are softened, not blocked in heavily. The lashes are defined, not theatrical. The complexion is evened out, not flattened. The lips look alive, not overly drawn. The cheeks have warmth, not performance. This is why the overall effect feels expensive. It leaves room for the woman herself to remain visible. You still see skin, you still see expression, you still see softness around the eyes, movement in the mouth, texture in the face. And all of that reads as more real, more relaxed, and ultimately more elegant than makeup that tries too hard to perfect every inch. One of the easiest ways to apply this is to think in terms of correction rather than construction. Instead of full coverage everywhere, correct where needed. Instead of sharp contour, use warmth and subtle shape. Instead of a dramatic lip, use a softened tone that makes the mouth look naturally healthy. French grooming tends to ask, what can be refined here rather than what can be rebuilt? That difference is small, but it completely changes how beauty is perceived. The fourth principle is hair that moves. This is one of the clearest markers of French beauty and one of the most important. Expensive hair is rarely hair that looks stiff, sprayed, over-curled, or over-controlled. It looks touchable, soft, slightly imperfect in a beautiful way. It has shape, but also ease. That does not mean messy. This is where many women misunderstand the look. French hair is not careless. It is simply not over-finished. The cut is usually doing most of the work. The texture is respected. The movement is natural. The style feels believable on the woman wearing it. That is what makes it luxurious. Hair that moves naturally makes the whole face feel softer and more modern. It creates life around the features. And in 2026, when hyper-styled beauty can often look dated very quickly, this kind of softness feels especially current. Usually, the formula is simple: a good cut, healthy ends, natural volume, controlled texture. Hair that frames the face without looking sculpted into place. Whether it is a soft bob, longer layered hair, a loose bun, or brushed out waves, the goal is always the same: ease with polish. The fifth principle is grooming that stays close to the natural palette of the woman. This applies to everything: nails, makeup, hair color, even brows. French beauty tends to stay close to what already makes sense. Nails are clean, short to medium in length, and often neutral, sheer, muted, or classic. Hair color is rich and believable rather than overly contrasted. Brows follow the face instead of dominating it. Nothing feels disconnected from the woman herself. This matters because expensive beauty depends on harmony. When every element feels related to the same person, the result reads as natural luxury. But when the nails say one thing, the hair says another, the lashes something else, and the makeup something else again, the whole impression becomes fragmented. French grooming avoids that. It keeps the message unified, and unity is one of the clearest signals of refinement. Another important part of the formula is scent and personal polish. French beauty has always understood that grooming is not only visual, it is atmospheric. A woman who smells clean, subtle, and memorable feels more luxurious. A woman whose lips are moisturized, whose hands are cared for, whose clothes are steamed, whose posture is calm, always appears more polished, even before anyone can explain why. This is where grooming becomes presence. It is no longer just about products. It is about how a woman moves through the world. There is a certain neatness, a certain softness, a certain discipline to it. Nothing excessive, nothing obvious, but everything quietly maintained. And that maintenance is part of what makes the formula so powerful. French grooming is less about dramatic beauty moments and more about daily standards. Skin that is looked after consistently, hair that is trimmed before it becomes damaged, nails that are always neat, makeup that can be applied in a way that feels instinctive. It is not event beauty, it is lifestyle beauty. That is why it reads as expensive, because it does not feel temporary. There is also something deeper behind all of this. French grooming does not seem to come from panic. It does not feel driven by correction, insecurity, or endless self-adjustment. It feels rooted in self-respect. A woman takes care of herself not because she is trying to become acceptable, but because care itself is part of her standard. That emotional difference changes the outcome. Beauty done from anxiety tends to look tight. Beauty done from self-respect tends to look calm. And calm always looks more luxurious. So if you want to use the French grooming formula in your own life, the best place to begin is not with buying more. It is with editing. Simplify your routine, strengthen your skin, soften your makeup, improve your haircut, clean up the details that repeat every day. Choose one nail shape that always looks elegant on you. one makeup rhythm that enhances your face, one hair approach that feels polished but natural. Over time, those repeated choices begin to create recognition. Your face starts to look more coherent. Your grooming feels more like a signature and less like a collection of trends. And that is exactly when beauty begins to look expensive. Because expensive beauty is rarely about drama. It is about consistency. Skin that looks cared for, hair that looks healthy, makeup that supports rather than hides, details that feel clean and controlled, nothing loud, nothing accidental, everything in quiet alignment. That is the real French formula. Not perfection, not excess, not trying to look rich. Just a softer, more disciplined kind of beauty that makes elegance feel natural. And that is why it works so well. It does not make a woman look like she spent hours trying to become beautiful. It makes her look like beauty is already part of the way she lives. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more elegant style, timeless beauty, and refined fashion ideas that make you look polished without overcomplicating it. And let me know in the comments what matters most to you when it comes to grooming: skin, hair, makeup, or the small details. Until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next.